what did you think about the video that I sent you earlier about runes and builds and stuff like that?
So I guess just a little bit about me. I've been playing League forever. Okay, like literally, I want to say like whenever Fizz came out is when I played this game. So
Okay. I
I
don't
played
know
a
when that
long
is,
time.
but
No. It feels like a long time. It's definitely over 10 years, and I'm not very good at this game. I would like to be better at this game, and I think that um, watching that video and hearing, and I forget his name or their name, whoever it is, your apprentice.
Legends.
Um, yeah, hearing them talk about specifically like, hey, when you're playing against Pike, you should take the cooldown rune because his E has a shorter cooldown than your E. And but I'm sitting here like, I don't think I've ever thought about the game on that like scale before. So I think it's all super beneficial. I think I need to, if I want to get better at the game, I have to reframe the way I think about League. Um, so long story short, I think it was really helpful. However, when it's all new ways to think about the game, it feels relatively overwhelming.
For sure.
Because I think when I jumped from gold to emerald this last season, or half a split, or whatever we're calling it now, my big takeaways were I need to stop playing for my AD carry and I need to start supporting my team. So my mentality has switched from like I want to play lane well because I want to have an early lead if possible, but then I'm looking to play around the map a lot more to be more effective for my team. And that has like helped me climb out of gold so fast and so easy. So I'm down to learn new ways to play the game, but I'm concerned that my mentality of, okay, I'm just gonna leave my AD carrier, they can stay under turret and farm and hopefully they don't die. And now I need to be like, okay, the first 30 seconds of wave are the most important because X, Y, Z, right? Like it's a definitely different scope to look at the game in. So
For
it was
sure.
good. I liked the video. It was helpful. Like I said, it's just not the way I see the game right now, at least.
Yeah, so we'll take it slow. I will tell you things and then break it down to more fundamental values,
Yeah.
right? Like, for example, the consideration about, like the cooldown rune, like you said with Pike and stuff, right? That comes down to a more basic understanding of league champions and their cooldowns, right? And
Yeah.
punishing, like the major category would be punishing cooldowns, right? And that links to literally everything else because everything in the game is interconnected. So then we'll break it down into the core values and core concepts, and then hopefully that way they can be applied into every game that you play and not just like the one game or the one instance, right?
Yeah. Are you cool with me asking questions, or would you prefer to like go through with what you have and then I save questions for later, or like what is your? How
You
do you
can
like to do
ask
that?
questions, pause me anytime, ask questions, and usually I will also ask you questions back.
Okay.
So
Cool.
a more like inquiry kind of discovery based is the way that I go.
Awesome. Okay. And is it rye? How do I say your
Rye is fine,
rye? It's cool. Okay. All right. Awesome.
like rye bread or like the wheat.
I'm all about it. Right on. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So basically if you picked like, we talked about it because we were blue side and that's why I got you to take the photo of the pregame photo, right? To
Yeah.
see like pick order and stuff like that. So they picked Janna, and why do you think that picking Rakan into Janna may be a bad idea?
I mean, so the way I think about it, Janna technically can stop my W with her Q. So I think Janna and Leona are two like really good lane counters for Rakan. Um, my pool is pretty limited, so I play Rakan and Nami exclusively pretty much, and then I have Seraphine, but I'm not very good on Seraphine. Um, and my AD literally like insta locks Samira like right when our pick order came up. So I was like, I like Rakan Samira more as a lane duo than I like Nami Samira, and that's literally why I picked Rakan.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I assume it's because Janet can stop my combo, and then I'm sad.
Yes. So yeah, any other questions that we had about the video or anything before we get into the VOD?
I don't think so. Okay, so knowing that my pool is very small, would you have picked Nami over Rakan in this matchup like 100% of the time?
I personally would have, yes.
Okay.
But again, it's not like what champions you play aren't super important in a sense where it doesn't affect too much of the game in lower elos, if that makes sense.
Sure. 100%. Yep.
So I would say anything under like like probably masters around there is when, or even like you can start thinking about it anytime, right? But when it really starts to matter is the upper echelons of the ladder because they know to punish, how to punish, right?
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, just be considerate. Be like, hey, I know this is the better pick here, but I'm going to pick this anyways because, and list your reasons, right? It's like what I give to you is going to be guidelines for you. It's not going to be a rule book and it's not the Bible, right? So don't take what I say to be like, oh, this is like matter of fact and this is the rule, right? Like understand that what I'm telling you and then break that down and know when you're able to break the rules, right? And be like, hey, I'm going to break this rule because of this reason, right? When you think about it that way, then you're thinking, I am making the right play or the wrong play or the right play, but it's actually technically wrong, but it's correct in this instance because of this reason, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because in the game, it's not just you have like 9 other people, right? So sometimes it's correct for you. And if like everybody played by the book, yes, it's correct, but then not everybody plays that way, right? And not everybody thinks the way that you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You can see my screen and my mouse, right?
Yes, I can. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So let's just get started. And I'll pull up the notes that you had too on the side here. Okay, so the first thing that you said was about pulling the wave.
Yeah.
So the way that I like to pull the wave is that you can stand further up when the minions come. And that way they kind of are targeting you. So like here, right? We'll go back just a tiny bit. So I usually, like, at this point, I'm already kind of like walking up, looking at them a little earlier so that I kind of can aggro all of them together at the same time and then drop the aggro into the bush when the minions are going to meet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Now, can I ask you this? So, this was the way I was taught to pull the wave, and not specific. Like, I don't have a time that I do it or a specific place in the bush. Like, I should go into practice tool and be able to do this 100% of the time. I think it's easy enough to do, especially if you're by yourself in lane, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was playing a game the other day, and my AD waited till the waves crashed, and then she autoed one of the casters,
Yes.
and then before she took aggro, she walked into the bush.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the better way or more consistent way, or does it matter?
Minion targeting is a little weird sometimes. The way that they target, I have a slide for it, but we can talk about that later. But sometimes so basically every few seconds they'll what's the word? They'll like relook at everything on the screen and then like retarget sometimes. So it might be a little like risky, but this way it's like more guaranteed, but
More consistent. Okay.
it's more consistent, but you have to be careful whether the enemies are in lane or where the enemies are, right? But in this case, you know that the enemies are not in lane right now. So you can just walk up to the wave and just like make it aggro onto you.
Okay.
Right? So I'd be here, I'd walk out here, right? And then they'd all target me at the same time. You also like lose less HP because these ones are targeting you first, right? And these ones are still like not aggroed onto anybody, right? So they're already hitting you where these ones aren't hitting you yet, right? They haven't seen you,
Right.
basically.
Okay.
But it's fine. Like Rakan has passive, it's cool. But this one like kind of missed the mark, right?
Yeah, he fucked it all up.
So, what is it about? How do you trade in lane, or what should you be looking for when like you're trading in general, just trading patterns?
I try to trade when I look to trade. I try to trade when I see cooldowns are down that can stop me from getting in and getting out when I'm playing Rakan. I
Mm-hmm.
try to look for us having a larger wave than them, so minion aggro is harder for them to deal with than it is for us. And then in this position, I think I was looking for level 1 and level 2. So I didn't look to trade aggressively level 1 at all. I don't know necessarily when is the right time to trade level 1 with Rakan.
Okay, so what do we notice here in this frame?
We have 1 melee and they have 3 casters. I don't know.
I'm looking primarily about what's happening with Janna.
I have vision of her and she's hiding far back in a bush.
And what is going on? What else do you see? This is your vision, by the way, by what you would have seen in game.
I don't know. I don't know what else. Oh, I mean the tornado, but
The tornado. Okay, so that means she doesn't have tornado, but what do you have?
I have W.
You have W. So you would like on this window, I would look for maybe like if you communicated that she used the tornado, you can like look at something, right?
W affiliates, yeah. Yeah,
Right?
I could have walked up to W him instead of I dodged farther away. I could have gone aggressively there for sure.
And you know for a fact that it's also still down. So like if you look at Janna Q, right? Her cooldown is 14 seconds. Your scales, right, with levels, right? So at level 2, like your W is always going to be like shorter than hers, but like contextually because she can like channel it, right?
Sure.
So I would be mad hitting the wave, like asking Samira to like help and to hit 2. And by that time, you can like look to like posture up, which is good, right? You go for this level 2 trade and it's free. Because you're still level 1 because you're hitting the wave.
Yeah.
So something that you could do in this lane is to punish every time that Janna uses Q with no reason, right? Like wastes her Q. We know that Eve is topside, right?
Yeah.
We saw her path through mid. And kind of like think about the purpose and the reason why you're using abilities, right? So in this instance, like there's this one usage of E here that didn't really do anything for you, right? And we also walked up here and took some like autos for free that gave her chip on you, and also her item of spell thieves. She's just hitting you for free money and free damage, right? And you know that this is warded. So something that you could also do in Rakan versus like an enchanter is take sweeper, and so that you can just sit in bush because you have more like what does it give you when you're sitting in bush and they can't see you? Like what benefits does it give you?
Just permanent threat. I don't have to play aggressive, but they have to think that I could the whole time.
Yeah, so you can also like look at them and they wouldn't be able to see, like for example, if you have something with a cast time or something, you can just be sitting in bush and you just pop out and like you're on them, and they have to be wary and they'll have to play back, right?
Okay.
So that's something that you can think about. So that was the usage of E that didn't really do anything for you or for Samira, right? So now you don't have E if there's an opportunity to trade with a W later, right?
Yeah.
So for example, this trade here, right? Imagine if you didn't use the first E and you used the first E when you used your second E, right? So then you could have E'd her right? Or even just W straight onto Janna and then E back to Samira, right?
Yeah. So in part of the notes that I put, at least for my VOD review, I have a hard time specifically with Rakan because I know that my most dangerous position is when I'm behind my 80 and my 80 walks up. Because I get the extended E range. It makes it easier to land a W, right, when I'm pushing through them versus when I'm doing it reactively. So I have a hard time when I am either posturing bush, which for me I think is a weaker engage point because I can't E through my AD. So like trying to explain to them via whether it's pings, I try not to type in League ever if I can
Mm-hmm.
avoid it because I think it's terrible and I just don't do it. But like when I have an aggressive AD who likes to walk forward, I'm super happy. And that's why I pick Rakan with Samira, because Samira loves to dash in. I can follow her, we can make that combo work really well. But she played like super passive in this lane. So what do you think is the best way to encourage that? Or should I just forget the concept of sitting behind her and literally just always play up?
So as a support in like lower elo, sometimes you have to hold your AD carry's hand a little bit more, and you have to tell them what they have to do, right? Most of the time, they're just happy farming, right? But you can see angles that they don't, and sometimes like using pings is really good. Like for example, you can ping like your W, right? And then you can ping like who you're gonna look on, right? And you're gonna ping. You can also ping like, you know, if they get it sometimes, I'll be like, ping like I'm sitting right here, like on my way here, and then I'll use the blue ping to be like, hey, like stand right here, right? I'll ping onto them. Like for example, in this instance, I'll be pinging my W, and then I'd be ping like on my way or like all in, right?
Sure.
So like I would ping on my way, and then when it's the angle to like go onto them, then I'd ping like all in or something,
So
or
more
like
ping
assist
push.
me.
Yeah. Okay. More pings.
I'm just gonna move this somewhere else. Where? Here. It's in the way. So like you could just be standing like up instead of behind them to E through them, right? You could just be standing like here, like just out of range, right? So like out of her auto attack range, but like close enough but far enough away, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, having sweeper would help me do that a lot easier in this lane, 100%.
Yeah. Here, I'll send you a picture of something that I'm working on at the present moment. Copy image. I didn't do this for Janna yet. Actually, I did. So this is a project I'm currently working on. I started yesterday. A visualization of ranges, right? So as long as you're standing outside of Janna's auto attack range, right? Just slightly outside, just right on the cusp of it, right? That's when like you can, because that's basically like your W range, right? So she has to respect you, but she also can't touch you.
Sure. Okay.
So I could be playing like up here, right? If I wanted to in the bush, or if I'm just waiting for the wave to come back, that's fine too. So like I could just be standing here, right? And this wave, so like you could just like by nature position a little bit more aggressively too, so that like you don't have to E through your AD carry to guarantee like your W, right?
Yeah.
If that
Okay.
makes sense. This is fine. Warding is fine. But you knew that Eve was topside. She should have finished, but she is coming down within the next whenever her camps respawn, because she started bot, and you know that for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Your AD carry should be respectful of them because you went to go ward, and the wave is coming back to her 100%. So you could just be like, you can ping your ward, and then you're going to ping where you're going to go, and then you can say like, caution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you see that Janna wastes her W here.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, not her W, her Q.
Or Q.
So that's a fine look. We missed, but that's okay. You have E as well, right? So what you could also like E to get here faster, right? So in this instance, like you E her and then you W this way. It might be closer.
Yeah. And it gives her just a shield while we're trading. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe. Oh, I can do this actually. Nice. That's really good.
I mean, we'd lose that if she didn't walk back into my W, but yeah. It worked
Yeah.
out well that Janna was not very good.
I mean, you also had E up still, right? So then if she dodges it, you can just like E back.
Right.
And you're fine, right? You can like WQ and then just E back if you miss.
Mm-hmm.
Eve died, and you would just primarily want to get this wave in. But he has no flash anymore. But this going back in might be like a little dangerous. I'm not sure if this like Aphelios, if he would have been better if he would have done something else. But him dying here is like worth your death because why do you think that is?
Because Samira with gold early is a lot stronger than Affiliates with gold early.
What else?
Or at least that's the way I see it. He loses his wave to turret.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he loses this massive wave of money and EXP. So this happens. We see that her camp, I don't know, she should be coming bot soon. This ward will see her. There she is. And you ping that, I think it's you who pings that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's here on this scuttle. You have free time right now, which is good. You look to do something somewhere.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is the proper way to do roam timers, but anytime I back, I walk mid or top, and then I walk back bottom. Or at least that's what I try to do, unless I see that they're pushed or dead or whatever it is. Like this to me felt like a bad mid roam because she was pushed up. I can't do much unless I'm diving turret. I don't have stopwatch. Like this doesn't feel like a great play for me. I mean, it worked out because I stole a free assist. She didn't even need me here, but that's what I try to do at least. Like when I back my first couple of times bottom, I try to look mid every time.
So you don't need to look every time, but you do look this time because like what happened in the sequence before.
Well, we thought, or at least I assumed that Evelyn was coming from mid gank, because I knew she pathed over that ward. So that's why I stayed mid for sure, or stayed pathing towards mid, I should say.
So the number one thing you want to look at if you can roam or not is like first of all, the wave, right? So this wave, what happened to it?
It crashed.
It crashed. And when will your AD carry be back to lane?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Do you know how long it takes from a person without boots to walk from bot to this tower?
I'm gonna guess and say like 33 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, so around like 30 seconds. Okay. So she hasn't backed yet, right? She starts her back now. So it takes how many seconds to base?
I don't know numbers like that. I have no idea. 6, 5.
So like 8 seconds.
Okay.
So you have 38 seconds to do whatever you want.
Okay.
But if, for example, the wave is really doomed, then you would have to come bot and fix the wave with your AD carry as soon as you can. Sure. Or if it looks like she's going to get dove, then you need to come bot. But this is a roam timer for you to do whatever you want because one, the wave comes back to your Samira guaranteed by the time she gets back. And you have time in advance of Samira. So she doesn't need you for this extra, like, however many seconds, right?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you going mid here is great. Like, you don't have to do anything, right? You're just doing something. Do whatever, right? And you know that Eve was, like, in river. So, like, even if you path this way or whatever, you can drop wards. If you had a pink, you can drop a pink. If you had wards, you can go drop a ward in their jungle. Like, anything. You have time to do whatever you want. And here you just stole a free assist. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
And where's Eve?
I assume she's still bot side. Because we saw, I think she walked back. So she walked to river and then she walked back over my ward. So I assume she's on wolves, would be my guess.
Yes. And you know that she took the scuttle 100%. Well, you would, if you press tab every time you see her, then you can be like, hey, she did this camp, right? So
That's
she would
fair,
have had, like whatever amount of CS when she pathed through here, and then when she pathed back over your ward, then she would have gotten +4, right? Then you'd be like, oh, guaranteed she took the scuttle.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's stuff I don't ever think about, ever. But that's just because I don't jungle. God, that role is terrible. I would never.
Like, jungle
Never, ever.
tracking is part of every, like, is important to every role, right? Doesn't matter. Top, mid, jungle, 80 sub, right? Knowing where the jungle is like part of like that everybody should know, like something like that. And if you,
Okay.
and it's something that everybody should work on because it's, you know, the jungle goes everywhere. What you can do here is, you know, that this wave, does it come into you or does it go into them?
Oh, it comes into us hard. Yeah.
Comes into us hard. So what do you also know about this lane, about the enemies?
Oh, you're pointing at the summoners. We know that they have no subs.
Yeah. We know that they have no sums. So and you have your ignite up and you know that this wave is coming into you. What's free?
So that's, I mean, I feel like a gank is free, like hiding out of vision and waiting for them to push up and try to look for a fight, which is, I think, what I tried to do.
Yes, what you can also do here is ping your jungler to come help you too.
Fair. Yeah.
Right? So I would be pinging enemy sums. And if you wanted to, you could type no sums bot, free yank, right? And then you could just like wait. Because they saw you mid, right? So you can just like wait with your jungler. And your jungler, if you pinged her earlier, right, to come assist me bot, she'd be kiting this way. And then she could come over this way and you can go from behind them. Because if they don't fix this wave, they can't play the game. And they you know for a fact that they want to be pushing this wave in to crash it. Yeah. You just go rapping behind them and just kill them with your jungler. And your jungler is going to be happy because of 2 free kills. So what happened here? Janna walked up a little bit too far and we smiled on them.
Yeah.
And you know that they have no sums, so it's like free. And you know that your Samir is stronger. Especially because like Aphelios, all he has is like boots and Janna has literally nothing.
Yeah, and I feel bad too because I yoinked that kill and I was literally like sitting further back because I didn't want to take it from her. And I was like, I have W up. And of course I yoink it. But yes, that was a free low. That was a bad play.
Which part? Like here?
Yeah, like I walk up in this bush to just give Samir space to make sure that I'm not, like I was just hanging out and then I decided to be greedy and help her.
I was just like, I'd hit him as well, like, because he's pretty healthy still, right? And you could like still be up, right? And hitting him, just autoing him.
Sure.
And then just like the last, when he gets like super low, then like stop hitting him, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what if like Eve came bot and now it's a 2v2 and he's still healthy, right? So
That
this
makes
entire
sense.
time that you could have been hitting him, right?
Yeah, so secure kills, don't worry about. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like early game, if it's like guaranteed 100%, like take it, especially when they're like really low. But you should be helping your like teammates to get them to that point where it's guaranteed 100%.
Yeah, valid. Okay.
Pushing this wave. Did it go in all the way? Or did your AD carry choose to push another wave? Yeah, she gets a plate. And guess she's just greedy a little bit. She wants this wave too. Okay, so that's point right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is one that I put in my notes that it would have made more sense to just follow Belveth instead of pushing turret with Syndra.
Why would it be better to walk with Belveth than pushing turret with Syndra?
Because it's more important for Syndra to get solo play gold instead of me taking half. And
Yes.
we know that their bot lane is pushing right because they just pushed Samir out of the lane. So if Belveth actually paths bottom, then we have another gank angle.
Yeah.
But I really wanted gold because I'm a greedy little boy. So.
So here they take this, and you notice that your Samira is staying and hitting the wave, even though she should have based after like pushing the wave. But
Yeah.
here, this is what happens. You take the cannon and then you like, sure, W that, peace out, right? Or you even just take the cannon, just leave. And keep your W cooldown for later, just in case whatever happens, right? So you should be walking with Belveth. You'll be around like here in the pixel right now, but it's like it's not that big of a deal because you have E and W. So you're walking with her. Like imagine if you're here with her right now.
Yeah, that was just lazy league. I was being very lazy and just decided to hit turret instead of actually doing something helpful. I agree.
But yeah, the reason why you don't want to hit the turret with Syndra is because, well, first of all, they killed their mid laner, right? And Eve is still level 5. And Syndra is really strong when she has money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a low-key grief.
Yeah, so Janna should have been dead, and this wave looks a little doomed now for Yuri to carry. But they push it because freezing is fake.
Well, when you have flamethrower, you just always flamethrower, you know? It's the cool gun.
Yes.
Yeah, this was the bad play too. Again, I think that this was a bad play.
Why is it bad?
So in my opinion, I am sitting in the bush because I know Evelyn's coming, and I love this play because I feel super powerful because I know she's 5, and I see her and she doesn't see me. So I love the start of the play waiting for her, but I feel like again when Belveth came, we should have just left because we should lose that fight if Belveth's at half health. Is the way I looked at it.
But how would you have known that she was? At what point would you have known that she was half health?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm not watching her at all. I just know that when we push up, so like 10 seconds from now, when we actually go to start the fight, the moment she came with half health, we should have pinged away instead of continuing the stuff that we did.
When you play, do you have your little portraits on top of your map or something? Or is it like here?
Yes, I have them over there.
Yes, so you can see her health on that portrait too.
Yes.
Yes.
I can.
Yes, you can.
It is visible. You're correct.
Yes, it is visible. So immediately we should have known that this is not a play. It's also not a play for more reasons. Why else is it not a play?
I don't see Jace.
Okay, you don't see Jace, but you know for a fact that Jace is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's been dead for quite a while because you've been hitting tower
for 2 plates. Yeah.
Yes. So he's on his way back and he's pretty close. Why else is it not a play?
Samira is basing.
Samira is basing. So what happens if Samira bases?
If Aphelios comes, we are guaranteed down one person.
Yeah, so they're on fresh resets, right? They're full health, money's well spent.
Yeah.
Aphelios, Janna, Jace, Evelyn. And you have just Syndra, yourself, and half HP Belveth.
Yeah, okay, to be fair though, I'm feeling really good in the game at this point though. Like I'm feeling like a really good Rakan player. I also have questions about itemization on Rakan after watching the video, but we can go to that afterwards.
Yes, sure. The way that Layton plays the game is the way that he looks at it, at least, is feelings are not part of the game. It's either you're right or you're wrong.
But I'm vibing at this point, so okay, keep going. Yeah.
Right? So like your feeling of, oh, I am vibing and I feel like I win, it's not justified.
Okay.
Based off the evidence that we just talked about earlier, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You feel like you win, but do you actually? And then you just think about it that way, using like analysis, right? No, because first of all, it's going to be a 4v3 because of the reasons of Syria basing, Belveth half HP, and you know that they're coming to this.
Yeah.
So we should be already in base, and we shouldn't be wasting our Belveth's time right here. She should be based right now, or taking her Krugs or something, because you know that this is not a play.
Yeah. I feel like we could have watched her take Scuttle and we still could have left. Like we had time. But the W in was the worst part of it. I agree with what you're saying, that the best league would have just been backing, like we knew where Eve was, and we just leave. But I think the real bad was the W in, regardless of it lands or not, just because exactly we're getting totally collapsed on and we don't have numbers, and it's not good. Yeah.
So like here, you should be basing right now. You're sitting on a lot of money, right? Yeah. You don't have to watch her take the Scuttle. Like for you, that's wasting your time too. Sure. Right? So you know that this plate is guaranteed already, so I'll just like, I don't know, base over here. Like wherever, right? Just base. Because you know Syndra's gonna get the plate and she's gonna share it with you. I would be like base out of vision somewhere. Or be channeling base right now. I don't have to watch the Eve take the Scuttle. Imagine if you're basing right now, you'd be back on the map by what time?
38 seconds from now.
Or like, yeah, so about that time, right? So you'd be back like bot tower-ish, but you'd be faster to walk. You'd be back mid faster, right?
Too. Yeah. Yep.
So imagine. Okay, forget the imagine, but let's think about what happens at 8 minutes in the game.
I have no idea.
What happens at 8? What spawns?
Oh, Rift Herald.
Rift Herald, and is that important?
It can be, yeah, totally.
But why is but it's especially important this game because of one reason.
My Belveth.
Yes. Belveth wants to take Herald, right? That's one of like the ways, like one of the win cons, right? That you could play around, right? Because Belveth gets the Herald, she gets her form, and she can drop Herald in the lane and just take the whole tower, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So imagine if you and Belveth are 6 and you just walk straight to Herald. Can they do anything about it?
No. And
what could you have done better, maybe starting here? Where? At this point? How could we have played for this Herald?
If I base immediately and just go buy wards and throw it all down and clear out vision and...
At this point of the game where it was, yeah, I'll just play out the next minute. If that's too fast. So what could we be doing to guarantee that would have been better? So instead of doing what we're doing right now, because you want to get 6 and you want to make sure Belveth gets 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what could we have done differently instead of this sequence of events?
I assume the answer is still okay. Sounds good. All right. I assume basing and warding, but I agree with you that 6 is important. I don't know the right answer. What is the right answer?
So at this point, we established that, right? We got this. Whatever happened here happens here. You are almost 6. Close, right? Half a level. You can soak while you're walking away. She's going to hit this. So you soak this amount of HP. You can walk down with Belveth, right? And help fix the wave because Sumira wants the back because she's sitting on like 1.4k. So you can help them. Come here. You're with Belveth right now. You can either get a kill because Janna's griefing and she has no flash, right? And you shove in the wave. You also get cannon. Another cannon, right? Yeah. And then you get the rest of this wave and the wave that's coming in. You should surely hit 6 after this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Belveth can go, and she's like so close. Look at that. Yeah, if she takes this, that's spawning right now, or spawning soon, or takes her red, or does something else, or even just leeches 1 XP, she's 6. And then you base together, and you run to Herald, because you know for a fact that Sumira wants the base.
Yep.
So if you did that, game is super easy. Game's like already over.
How often are you watching the time in game while you're playing?
Pretty often. Like I'm always watching the important timers. The important timers. What would be the important timers of a game?
Skull spawns, dragon spawn, herald spawn, I would assume.
Yeah, so major objective spawns, including scuttles, and just a general time of when the jungler is going to be back, right? So, for example, if I know that Evelyn started bot, she's a type of jungler to want to full clear, right? So, but it'll take her maybe like, if she started down here, she'll probably be back around like 3 or like 2:30, 3-ish, 3:30-ish. So I want to get a ward down at like 2:15.
Okay.
Or something like that, right? Just like kind of these general timers that I have in my head. I know when something's supposed to happen or something significant should happen, and I should be prepared for that. But at 8 minutes, that's an important, very important timer for Belveth in any Belveth game. Whether Belveth is on your team or on an enemy team. Imagine if you're playing against the Belveth and she doesn't get to take the Heralds and you're just there. Like, it's also like you just destroyed their mental too, right? You're top when they expected you to be bottom because nobody thinks for supports to roam, right?
Yeah.
So instead of everything happening here, right? Again, it's like make sure, well, the principle would be Syndrome wants solo plates, right? So what else can you do? What happens bot? We'll look at wave. Samira griefed it, so we need to help her fix. And we'll just go down, fix the wave. If it's a free kill, that's great. We'll take it. If it's not free, just fix the wave back. And then run to Herald.
Okay.
Did you have any questions about that?
No, I think that makes sense. And it also, again, so like I said, the big improvement that I had this season was leaving bot lane and doing other things. Mm-hmm. And being able to do that more strategically makes a lot more sense, right? Like, obviously, if I'm looking to help secure Herald on spawn, watching the timer, or leaving to help my jungle if I think that there's going to be a scuttle fight, things like that. It's stuff I just need to like physically pay more attention to. Like tell myself, hey, you actually have to be watching the clock on the map because I don't do that ever.
I see. But yes, like going from not leaving lane to leaving lane, that's great. And the next step would be to answer the question why.
Yeah. Yeah. So my question here, now that I get to buy, and this goes back to the VOD review that you had sent me. Um, I don't I feel like I love Kindle Gem early. Like I always grab Kindle Gem early because I think that health is great in lane when I have to throw myself into fight. But in the VOD it said like the Amp Tome route is always better. Like the Codex or whatever the other half of Shirelia's is always better to rush over the health crystal.
Well, it depends on how much money you have, right? In this instance, right, on this base, before you're basing, you have these items, right? So maybe instead of your previous purchase, what you could have gone is gone the Amp Tome instead of this Ruby Crystal, right?
Okay.
Uh, if you had
Because
enough
that's what I
money.
always look to buy. I always look to buy boots and Kindle first, like always. So should I retrain that thinking? Because I think in the video, the reason given was since Rakan's AP scaling is so high, the value of getting the early AP first is better than the value of the overall HP. And I just want
Mm-hmm.
to make sure like that's correct. So I should be going AP over health in that scenario.
If you had, because the Amp Tome is $35 more than the Ruby Crystal. So if you had that $35, then you would buy the Amp Tome
Okay.
instead of the
And
Ruby Crystal.
and there was a part of the video, and again, I'm gonna go back and rewatch it a couple of times because I think that there are like a couple assumptions that both of you guys knew that I didn't know, and it was I feel like I wrote it. Hold on. It was like when buying AP for your scaling, it was like if your AP scaling is above 50 or 60%,
I think it was
then it's
70, he said. Or, like, yeah, 50, 60. But, like, the higher it is, yes.
okay. So like that's something I didn't know. So does that apply to like all supports that I play? Like if AP scaling is that high, there's just more value in going AP other stats.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, for example, if you're playing a mage, right, and you buy AP, right, versus AP versus health, right, or anything else, if they touch you, right, but, like, if they touch you, maybe, like, you're already dead, right? For example, if you're playing against, like, a Blitzcrank or something as a mage, right? Then you just want to like be able to poke them down so that they don't have an opportunity to engage on you. And even if they did engage on you, then they are dead because you would have had more damage from having more AP,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Because your
It does.
abilities are stronger versus
Yeah.
like having the extra like health.
It's more shielding, it's more damage on the W. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And then my other question was my previous coach told me if I'm not buying second item Zonias on Rakan, I'm griefing. And that Zonias is secret OP. So when I was watching the VOD review of you guys, and it was like Zonias is an okay buy, but the fact that I'm rushing Shirelia Zonias every game doesn't make sense. Um, I like literally the way I was always told to play Rakan was like everything past Zonias is situational, but it's Zonias every game. So should I change that mindset?
So the thing you have to think about is the why again, right? Your previous coach tells you that you need to buy Zonias every game, right? And he tells it to you like it's a rule, but it's up to you to distinguish when to apply the rule and when you like quote unquote break the rule or understand why that rule exists in the first place. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
like, you can buy Zonias, sure, but why are you buying it? What's the purpose of using Zonias? If that makes sense.
The reason that I buy it is because again, and this is probably the wrong way to look at it, since I am supposedly always going to be a secondary engage, or in this game we don't really have a lot of hard engages, right? Like we look to catch with the Syndra stun before Aatrox or Belveth can really go in. I like to think that I'm normally a secondary engage, so being able to be a primary engage and just stall out the rest of my team getting there by having Zonias feels like a safe buy for me. And that's why I like having it as a second item. Because I think also in the VOD review, like when you guys were talking about if we have 2 tanks on the team, Shirelia's is a good buy. But if we have less than 2 tanks, normally I'm sorry, the name of the mythic is spacing
Radiant.
me, but yeah, Radiant's better, right? Because that allows me to be a secondary tank in essence and kind of help keep people healthy while we're doing those engages. So I don't necessarily know the right answer, but that's just the way that I've always thought about it, was having that little extra bit of time that I can be the person who goes in and do the engage and live and still be able to come out and continue the fight is why I thought Zonia's was good.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. But then, like, since Radiant is an item, right? Then maybe you can consider, hey, if I need to be that primary engage, right? Then I can buy Radiant, and perhaps that gives me enough HP, that gives me enough healing that I don't need to buy Zanya second.
That's fair. I it's funny because like again, I know Radiant is a good item on Rakan. I just love being able to press Shirelia's and R at the same time and just land shit. But I guess I maybe just need to rethink the way that I look at this champion, and that maybe I just don't give enough value to Radiant. Is probably the other thing too.
Like, Rakan is not. Well, he's like in a place between, like, the typical tough boys go in and just tank everything, and he's between that and an enchanter. You can play him in both styles,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah,
So
yeah.
building based on what your team needs is really important, and how you want to play Rakan in those kind of team comps. You'll have to like read the team comp, if that makes sense.
So if you queued into this game, what would you buy for a mythic?
Um, Depends. Like, maybe I'd go Shirley's, maybe I'd go Radiant. Depends on the game states, but either I would be okay with building either.
Okay.
But I would probably go something else second, maybe Redemption.
Yeah, that was another
Or
thing. I
yeah,
feel like you guys placed a lot of value on Redemption. Why is Redemption so good?
the value that it gives you, right? It heals your whole team. It gives you health. It gives you shield, heal power. It gives you CDR. Basically, like everything that your champ wants.
Okay. I just always thought Redemption was a bad item, but I think again the way that you guys like look at the game versus what I do, I don't necessarily pay attention to what the item's giving me as much as I should. So I think I probably just need to revisit build paths, and really find what is more important for my champion. I think that's super valid.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Those are my main questions on that. Yeah.
Okay. So here they take the Drake. Sierra Samir went to go look at it, even though she didn't really need to go look at it. Your Belveth is bought. Oh, she killed them? Oh, she's just grieving.
Yeah.
Since she's dead, we look at something else. We could be hard pinging the Baron, not the Baron, the
Harold.
Herald right now. Because
Yeah,
Eve is bought. And you
that was
don't.
the second time I stayed for plates when I shouldn't have. Yep, 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 yep.
Yeah, okay. And finish this when you can, right? The earlier the better. Your relic shield. You had a ward, so like you could have even like went here, looked at it, help it, or hard ping it, and then once you see that she doesn't need help, then you can just leave, right? And then you come back bot.
Okay.
If you're timing sums, You know that Aphelios has flash backup, and that's good that you blow his flash. Ping the flash. I don't know if you do because I put the chat away.
I think I do.
So now, what you can do is like posture more forward because you know that Aphelios has no flash and he's in Africa right now. So and Janna's in this bush, so you can just walk into this bush uncontested.
Okay.
Again, your E doesn't really do anything there.
That's me fishing again, like just trying to be close to her to see if I can EW, but I agree. There's no value really for a sideways E ever.
Yeah, but
So
also
yeah.
like if you just position yourself in a way where you can W onto them without needing to E first.
Yeah.
Okay, good flash out.
I probably could have saved Flash because I had stopwatch, but like that could have been better. I think in my notes I wrote like I was too far for Samira. Like I spent like I think in this last minute when we're in lane or 30 seconds, however long it is, I just spend too much time behind her versus playing up with her, which is what you were saying too. So
Right, if you just naturally, right? Imagine if you're sitting in this bush right now, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
if you had E, oh, you do have E, right?
I do.
You
Yeah,
are here in a position where you don't need to walk forward anymore. Imagine she's so far away, you can't E her anymore. But if you're
right.
sitting in this bush, you just E her, right? And then she's literally on top of Aphelios. It's free. You W him, right?
Yeah,
And then you wouldn't have needed to stopwatch.
flash or stopwatch. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, free. You can W the wave that's incoming too to get it faster, and then you just leave. And then they walked up to you and face checked you, and you just killed them. And now you get the base. Okay, help her shove the next wave.
She gets dunked by a Jace. Yep. I don't know if I can save her here. Maybe an E saves her. I don't think it does.
No, but
Or if I
like,
W in front of the ball, whatever. Yeah. I'm an old man. My reaction time is slow.
so it's fine. Like, you can ping that he's alive, and maybe you can tell Syndra to like back off, or you can ping the wave that you're helping her, and then or something. But that like she dies here, and there's nothing you could have done here besides like anticipate that the Jace is gonna stay and look to like EQ her.
Yeah.
What is she doing? She has her form, right? So she could have whatever. It's fine. She dies. But you could also ping because you know that it's gonna be like a 2v 1v2. Because you know that Syndra's
At
low and she
least.
has the
Yeah.
base, so you can just ping the Belveth to like be careful.
To not
Because
be there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like she could have left any time, right? Imagine if she had more time to walk around to this portion of the blast cone and blasted this way instead of going that way.
Yeah.
Because she like stuttered between here. And she just leaves. Or she could just queue back over the wall this way. I don't know.
And this is another one where I think if I'm pinging for Aphelios, this is a free kill. I think Samira makes the right play. She's holding the wave back. She saw Belveth die, so she's not playing up. But if she was there with me, that one's free, right?
Maybe because you know the Evelyn could wrap around here and then Janna's here too.
Yeah, but I mean, Samira's got all my gold.
So I still think even if Eve shows up, we win that. And then what's funny is I say that now, I'm pretty sure we both die right here. Like we lose the 3v2. So
Maybe, because you know that. Well, Evelyn doesn't have ult, but Aphelios and Janna have ult.
yeah.
You don't have ult until like later.
I think I just used it to try to kill Aphelios. Although I could be wrong. Maybe I just flash W'd. I don't
No,
remember
you
what
don't
I
have
did.
it right now. It's
Okay.
13. But you could
Sure.
be pinging your ult, right? Ping your
Yeah.
ult, and you can ping on my way, right? And you just wait. See what
Yeah.
happens?
Just wait in the bush and just have ult. Yep.
Right? If you had scanner 2 or a pink ward, you could just put that here. Because
Yeah.
you know for a fact that they don't know where you would have gone, right? Because this is pink, so you know that they wouldn't have been able to see you if you walked back this way or if you're going here. And either way, like even if you show or don't show, just don't show, because then they're left guessing. And if they disrespect you, he walks up further because he sees Samir's holding the wave, pulling it. So he walks up further. It's like more free, and you get to see where everybody else is or what their choice is. And he's further up here, right? If he walks up, then he's guaranteed dead and closer to your Samira. So you just wait for your ult.
Agreed.
Oh, that's crazy. It's like Eve came bot. It's like I said she would come bot. And it's like I said you might have lost. It might not have been free as you thought it was.
Nah, I think it's just because Samira agreed. She ulted what she shouldn't have. I agree with you. Yeah, it's 100% a bad play. We know Eve's bot side. We know she is. There's no reason for her not to be. But just look how tasty that EW was. Like it just, it was so good until Jada had a really great ult.
You could
And then
have
it was
like
not good.
I don't know if you could have ulted sooner so that she couldn't have charmed. I mean, she couldn't have ulted,
Sure, that's fair.
right? Because there was a moment here. Right? Or you can even like ult here, E her, and then tag
W
them.
back. Mm-hmm.
And if Janna should ult here right now, but she doesn't. And if she does use her ult, then you know that's free. But you get this, and immediately, as soon as you can, like once you're out of this, like ult. I think you do, but it's like really.
But I'm already on the other side. Yeah.
So perhaps like, yeah, because you know Evelyn's gonna be here.
Yeah, like I said, I just felt really strong, and I felt like we could win it. I guess I didn't realize that Eve was also 4-1, and she was very strong.
See what happens when like we use stopwatch? It's kind of like bait sometimes because they get position and timing on you.
100%.
But we don't need to W back in here because we know we don't win this because Samira's really low and Evelyn's still here.
I think I was just trying to be a hero for Samira, to be honest, but
she's out anyways, right? So
yeah, we could have both lived.
Yeah, you just walk away.
I even think I Zonia'd when I had E up too. Yeah,
I think you Zonia'd to have your E. Your E is not up right now.
Okay.
Right? 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did actually. But I think that's what you were playing for. To wait for your E. Okay. And then your Syndra does good work after, but the play was bad.
Agreed.
You could. Yeah, okay. So you go help here, see what's happening. Baron spawning. I think you're really strong. This is a good look. Just bush and camping. Because you know that Jace is gonna go walk this way, so this is really good. I would stand like further up in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
This is fine. You get this. It's free. Herald is up. It's pretty free. You could grab that too after you ward. You could path that way since there's nobody to contest you to ward, right? You could have warded before. You didn't have wards. But you could have taken this Herald if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Because this tower's dead anyways.
Poppy, and we know Eve's dead. Yep.
And your Belveth takes it really fast. We could be walking towards like mid instead of pathing straight bot. So you could have been here a lot sooner. Right? If you just path mid instead of going straight bot with Samira, because there's no reason to path straight bot because nothing's up down there anymore.
Yeah, I think I walked her down there just to make sure we take the turret, but I agree with you. I could be more valuable elsewhere. The turret was pretty low.
And then it's wallet diff at this point.
Yeah.
You knew Jace came from bot, I think. Yes. Jace is walking.
I should have been aware. I was unaware. I was blissfully, shooketh.
Shooketh. It's fine. It's just like recognizing their body language, right? And seeing it on your map.
Yeah, there's no reason for Janna at half health to walk at the two of us. Yeah.
Dragon spawning soon. If you want. I don't know what this is for. When you're building this, because this doesn't pair with this.
I agree with you. I don't know what I'm buying.
Right, so pick a direction and go with it.
I agree with you. I don't know what I'm buying.
Yeah, because like pink wards for Evelyn. Okay, that's really good. You saw her. I don't know if you needed to ult though.
Knowing that she doesn't have flash, I agree with you. I think I just really
But
want to
even
make sure we
if,
got it.
like right here, right? There's the stun. You get the W off. She's dead either way. You don't need to ult that. And it's not valuable for you to ult that anyways.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Imagine if you're here with your team. Right here. Instead of walking this way, you can walk back this way. Because you know it's safe. They don't have vision. So us being here is not really useful. Like, sure, yeah, you can hit it if you want, but you'll see them coming here, right?
Yeah.
And you can always come back and kill this later. What's more important here is to, like... This is not important right now, right?
Agreed.
You could be here, free W. He's dead too. Well, he's dead anyways, but free assist money. And maybe the Aphelios is dead with your ult and Shrelia's.
Yeah, I
And
agree. I
here,
think that this is just lazy. Yeah, wallet diffing at this point.
here, what you can do is, do we need to be hitting this right now as Rakan?
No, I'm always
No.
more valuable zoning
What can you be doing right now?
warding.
Warding. So where would we go ward?
Probably towards Baron, to be honest. Although being away from the dragon is probably not the right play, but
So
TF2
you
is good
can
wards.
be up here, right? You can sit with your Aatrox, right? Or be over here. You know that this guy's dead,
Mhm.
right? You could be like scouting for where Eve is. Where did we see
Yep.
her?
No, I don't think we see her at all.
Right? So you can be like anywhere. Or just drop a pink for your team. And you could just be looking out for where Eve is or whatever. Or clearing vision, or like just like, oh, we see her top. Like, I guess if you're gonna be there, like, if you had ult, then that would have been the only thing. Because Eve could steal with, like, ult. So you just, like, if you didn't have ult, then you wouldn't be able to, like, stop her, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe you could go behind the pit to find out where she is or something. And then you catch her here. If you had ult, maybe.
I did ult there. I ult right there, I think. Or is it just Aurelius? Oh, I'm trolling. I literally don't have ult. Yeah, okay.
8 seconds. Use your scanner as soon as you're here. You see her, kind of. If you had a pink too, you can drop it. That will immediately see her instead of like showing her little outline.
Mm-hmm.
You can ult her, like here. Right? And just save. Just ult her, right? And then she'll have to ult. So you're playing for her ult, right? So you ult, because your gap close is like your W, right? Your E, and you have move speed. So Shivelia's early if you want, but hold everything. Just use your ult now, so that she'll have to like ult out of your charm, and then you can follow up to her with your W.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you're faster than her. And then you would still be healthy, right? And then you could go and ward Baron with your team, or even take the Baron right now. Right? You'd be like at least half HP. You can ping the Baron, spam ping the Baron. Like, go take this right now. Because you can take it fast with Belveth. You just spam ping it, and then you just walk down this way, go ward stuff, and then you take it free. It's free. It's just a lot of like things that you could have done with the time that you had. A lot of like optimizations of when to take things, if that makes sense. Just knowing like when you can be doing stuff. You can do stuff sooner than you think you can. Like taking Baron. Like imagine if you had Baron right now and you just end the game. Well, the game ends anyways, but
Yeah. I agree with you. I think that makes sense.
did you have any questions about anything?
I don't think so. Like I said, the video is helpful because it kind of goes over itemization and things I shouldn't buy. Like me having the bandle glass and turning that into mandate. Now understanding mandate's not super great on Rakan is totally okay. The talk was also I don't think ever buying Thornmail on Rakan, and I think you guys said that it's always more effective just to have the
The
whatever
orb?
the AP version of it is. Yeah, is better because I'm always applying if I'm Wing or shielding or ulting, whatever it is. I'm always getting
Yeah, as
up
long
there
as you're
first.
like touching them, using your abilities, or like attacking them.
Yeah. So I think itemization I obviously need to work on. Rune choice is important, and then just understanding because again, I definitely do. I'm totally guilty of using like the auto selecting, like when you click the button and it shows you the top 3 rune choices for your champion, and then I pick the one I think looks good and I don't change it. So I think not autopiloting in Champ Select is also going to be super valuable for me too. So going back, and I'm just going to take a lot of value from that VOD review that you guys did also
Mm-hmm.
of the runes.
Yeah. So I would say like one is the game starts before the game actually starts. Starts in Champ Select.
Mm-hmm.
I'll type these. The game starts in Champ Select. So runes. What runes are you gonna take? What is the matchup? What runes are you taking? What? And that influences what are you building? Or vice versa. And then second of all, 2 is positioning in lane, kind of. Which also ties into punishing on cooldowns. And I think we can go with these 2 for now. And then something to think about is like the why. Why, for example, why am I taking these runes? Why am I building these items? I can't type. Why am I roaming? Like questions like these, right? Like there's always a why of everything. And once you like start answering your whys, you just answer them with like the basic fundamentals of like, oh, I need to be bought right now because I need to fix the wave. Right? It's like why am I roaming right now? Well, first of all, the wave crashed, wave comes back to my AD carry. She doesn't need to be babysat. I can roam right now.
Yeah.
And if you haven't used, hold on a second, too many tabs. Analytics. This one. Rakan. It's like just a statistics site that you can use to like see what people are doing. Right? You can do like D2 plus and see like these are just raw stats, but again, it's like for you to have like a question of, oh, like why are people building these runes, right? Or situations like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've literally never touched this website before. Okay.
Right? It's just like a lot of info. If you don't know how to navigate, you can always like, you know, like ask. People are taking Guardian, but like, why am I taking Guardian, right? Why is Glacial better sometimes, right? Those are the questions. If you know how to ask questions, then the game is like easy. So just ask more questions.
Yeah, I think I definitely kind of fell, and it's no fault at all. I think to the person I was using coaching or me. I think the easiest way for me to understand things was, hey, I need to change some of my, what I was doing in game. So we definitely did more give me the guidelines and I used the guidelines, and we didn't do as much as the when can I break the rules, right? Like literally it was use Glacial when playing against engaged champions and use Guardian when playing against poke champions, or go more value here and there. But even hearing you guys talk about like Glacial's only a rune when you proc it, right? So I wouldn't have ever have thought if a champion has a dash, Glacial has inherently less value, because if you're not landing your W, you're not getting Glacial, right? It's just like little things like that where it's the more into the why versus just the general rule that I was using that is just gonna help me look at the game differently. So I like that a lot.
Yeah. So I would say not to overwhelm you, because this is a lot of information. By a lot, I mean it was a lot, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, use the guidelines that you have right now, but understand that you're allowed to break them.
Yeah.
And then the addition to that, the next step forward would be to like know when, right? The more games you play, the better, and the more that you actively, cognitively like think about the game, right? Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, sorry, my dogs are just freaking out now. So, last question for you is, I think that, and I apologize, I'll mute in just a sec. I think that I have a lot of time to watch content while I work.
Mhm.
Is there anything that you would suggest that is just like inherently good to consume content that is just like good people to watch that have fundamentals that I should be learning, or like more guides or people or things that I should be watching? Should I be watching your YouTube? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I would say you can watch Korean pros, and again, they're human too, and sometimes they'll make mistakes as well, but way less mistakes than literally anybody else.
Yeah, that's valid. Should I try to focus specifically on Rakan and Nami players, or do you think I would glean more from just literally watching people that are better at me at just like support overall?
So if you are going to play solely like what you should if you're trying to climb, just pick a champ or two, right?
Yeah.
Two separate niches that, and just focus on playing those to climb. That's important. Um, so maybe like focus on that. But if you have extra time to do other things, then you can kind of look at fundamentals content, and I'll send you Core JJ's playlist, and that should help a lot.
Cool.
I don't know
Okay.
if you've seen Core JJ's playlist.
I have not seen any of his playlists at all. I know who Core JJ is, but yeah, I've never watched any of that stuff.
Core JJ. JJ,
And my
YouTube.
last question is, why should I play Karma? Like, what's so good about Karma? Will she take me to Masters if I just play Karma?
Like I don't think Karma's super good right now in the current meta, but she's always going to be like a super strong champion, and it would be good to learn her. She is a lane bully. She's like probably the strongest lane bully there is in the game right now, or in the
So,
game, I guess.
one
For
last question
support.
I have for you. Like, I so you linked me your guide for it, and I was just kind of breezing through it. Um, and like, there's a point in the guide where you talk about just like literally winning the game at level 1. And I don't feel like I have ever won a game at level 1. So when you like type things like that, is it literally just like, hey, if we can chunk them 2 times where they literally can't farm, like that for me is the biggest win? And obviously I know it's in the context of Karma, right? But like, is there a point in a Nami or a Rakan game where I'm looking to win the game at level 1? Because like Nami, I feel like my power spike is 2 or 3, depending on if I can land a bubble or not. And Rakan, my power spike is at 2. But can I ever win the game at level 1 with either of those champions?
You can win the game at level 1 with a lot of champions. It's like you can win the game level 1 by like, you know, like you said, chunking them really low so that they can't farm, and then you dive them, right? And then they don't get to play the game like ever, right? Or you just kill them level 1, and if for example you had like a really strong laner, like an 80 carry, and you land a W, you know, if they die, then game's over for them, right? Or stuff like that. Or you chunk them really low. Like stuff like that, you can always win, but it's like harder to do, but it's still something that you could look for, right?
Okay.
By playing the bush, right? Maybe if you have scanner for champions that like to play in bush, so you have control over bush, you know, it's just like every little thing that adds up. And knowing when you can punish the hardest would just be the accumulation of everything you know, and then being able to play that level 1 to the fullest optimization that you can, if that makes
Okay.
sense. But not every game will be like like winning on level 1, if that makes sense.
No, totally. Totally. Awesome. Well, I thought this was really valuable. I appreciate it. This was fun.
Mhm.
Are there any other takeaways that I should focus on? I'm gonna go through this playlist. Like I said, I think I'm gonna spend some more time just like reviewing and understanding runes and items and looking through the LoL analytics. How often do you recommend doing coaching sessions? Like, do you think that there is a value in like once every 2 weeks, once a month, once a week? Like, where do you think is the sweet spot for people, especially with me, where I have a lot of room for improvement?
There's a lot to you can work on. Like basically the purpose it's like tutoring, right? For
Hmm.
anything. I don't think that there's too much or too little. It's based on your comfortability because there will always be things that you don't know. And you don't know what you don't know, so you need somebody to point that out for you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff that I did point out to you that you didn't know before here, so
Hmm.
I would spend some more time and pick out one or two things that you really want to focus on and then be like, hey, I want to meet at this time, and these are the two things that I really want to work on. And see how I did from this VOD to the next VOD.
Awesome. Okay. I think for me, just because we're literally heading into like Christmas and New Year's month, I think just the amount of time I'll have to play League is going to be less.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my goal is to just probably put in as many games as I can over the next few weeks and then circle back up sometime next month is my goal,
Okay.
if that works for you.
Yeah. So I guess to leave you with homework is that uh so if you're gonna play a lot of games, it might not be like feasible to do every game to like write down literally everything, right? But
Hmm.
basically just answer the questions from point 1 that I wrote to you for select games, or at least think about them and then write them down for when you can. But at least one game every like time that you're every time that you're like gonna play a set of games, right? And then I would say part 2 for homework would be to watch the playlist that I sent you and then write down keynotes and pick 2 things that you would like to work on, if that makes sense.
It does. My last question for you is so like if I'm answering these questions and I'm typing it out, obviously it's more valuable to ask and answer those questions getting into the game, right? Like you're
Mm-hmm.
saying the game starts in champ select. Um so should I be trying to answer those questions and type it out like as I'm getting into the game? Or should I do it and do like a rewatch of the video? Or should I do it like twice? Like if I go back and rewatch a VOD, should I compare the notes after I watch the game on and compare to what I thought before the game? Or where's the best value of answering those questions? Is it literally
Uh,
always at the start of the game, or is it retroactively after watching it?
you can write down some quick notes, right? Like bullet points, right? Like 1 or 2 bullet points like, "Oh, I'm taking Guardian here because they have a Blitzcrank or something,
Hmm.
right? Or I'm taking Glacial here because they have a Senna or something, right? Um, as an example. And then, just 1 or 2 bullet points really fast before the game starts. And then if you have time after, you can like revisit that and be like, how did I feel about this? And was my answer correct, or was it like, or was there something better that I could have done?
Okay, totally valid. Awesome. This was great. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ray.
Anytime.
All right. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.